Hello, I'm Jim VanDusen, Director of Analytics at 4R Systems. I have almost 2 decades of experience working with retailers and building analytical software to optimize inventory. Today, I want to talk briefly about the numerous decisions a retailer makes every day and how they're all connected. Those decisions span inventory management, pricing, labor planning, and much more. Of course, not all decisions are made by the same person or group, so I'm going to highlight how these decisions all interact with one another. So first, let's look at inventory planning for retail locations. There are several types of factors to account for when deciding how much inventory to acquire or allocate. The first type I refer to as operational factors, which indicate how and when inventory moves through the supply chain. For example, you want to consider the cadence of deliveries, as well as the time it takes to procure inventory after placing orders. Any constraints on those orders, of course, will influence what you order, and the cost of capital affects your risk profile when ordering additional inventory. Next are the product characteristics, because they are unique to each item in the assortment. Product economics can and should play a key role in decisions, with the price of the product being a decision itself. You should also account for life cycle attributes of a product. Knowing that it may expire in a short time should make inventory decisions more conservative. Finally, we have demand characteristics. These describe the pattern of consumer demand for the products. How much are customers ordering on a particular day or week? Does this demand fluctuate a lot from day to day? How much is demand affected by changes in price? Do customers typically buy multiple units together? For example, consider customers buying tires for their car. Some might be looking for a single replacement tire in the case of a flat. Others performing regular maintenance might swap out 2 or 4 tires, but it's far less common to see transactions involving 3 tires. All of these factors can and should influence inventory replenishment and allocation. Now, going further upstream in the supply chain, we decide how to maintain inventory in distribution centers. Of course, some factors are the same, but additional consideration should be given to things like vendor ordering constraints and other delivery details. Additionally, future decisions further downstream should be considered. These are the orders placed for products to be sent to retail locations in the coming days and weeks. Other decisions may not be about inventory, but how to market and sell products. For example, deciding on markdown prices for a product should depend on how that product is expected to sell under different pricing levels. It's also useful to account for when and how much inventory will flow from vendor to DC and onto the retail locations. Accounting for these independent decisions helps squeeze more value from existing inventory. Lastly, let's look at another important part of running the business: planning the workforce necessary to support retail operations. From a simplistic perspective, as more inventory moves through the supply chain, more labor will be needed to accommodate that movement. The workforce at physical retail locations will scale with the level of consumer demand, staffing up during periods with greater demand. Additional labor may also be required to handle the buildup of inventory prior to those periods of peak demand. Likewise, the DC workforce will be affected by inventory coming into and going out of the DC. In fact, projections may indicate a future surge in inventory coming in from the vendor. If the staffing levels necessary to support that surge are infeasible, it may be better to just order more in advance to smooth out that flow of incoming inventory. So as I showed, most of these factors are heavily dependent on other past or future supply chain decisions. Pricing decisions affect retail and distribution center inventory policy. Inventory policy, in turn, affects the workforce needed at specific points in time. Knowing how all these external decisions are made and explicitly accounting for them will make the supply chain more efficient and help maximize the profitability of your business. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and enjoy your day.